चला तर आपण सुरू करूया आता कार्यक्रमाला. नमस्कार वर्षा मॅडम.
नमस्ते.
हा, कालचंही तुमचं व्याख्यान खूप सुंदर झालेलं. आज पुन्हा त्याच व्याख्यानाचा आस्वाद आपण घेणार आहोत पुढील भागातला. तर गुड आफ्टरनून टू ऑल द डिग्निटरीज अँड पार्टिसिपंट. I, Dr. Suchitra Tajne, on behalf of Krutayan and Department of Sanskrit, welcomes you all for the lecture series on the occasion of Professor Dr. S.A. Dange Centenary Celebrations. I welcome Dr. Varsha Shirgaonkar Madam for the today's talk. We all are enlightened by her marvelous speech delivered yesterday on the topic of situating mythical narratives in socio-cultural history. I think she has inspired us, and especially to young generation, that how to do research study through manuscripts and social cultural history. I request Varsha Shirgaonkar Madam to begin her talk on the topic of cultural history of medieval Maharashtra through Lavanis. Once again, welcome Dr. Varsha Madam, and over to you, Madam. एक मिनिट, तत्पूर्वी मी एक हे सांगते ही सूचना की आपल्याकडे आपल्या कार्यक्रमाला उपस्थिती म्हणून डॉक्टर सावंत सर जे आपले होते, एडी सावंत सर यांची उपस्थिती सुद्धा आपल्याला कुलगुरू आपल्या मुंबई विद्यापीठाचे जे आहेत त्यांची सुद्धा उपस्थिती आजच्या कार्यक्रमाला लाभणार आहे असं कळलेलं आहे. त्यामुळे त्यांचेच आत्ताही मी मनपूर्वक इथे स्वागत करते आहे आणि आपण कार्यक्रमाला सुरुवात करूया. वर्षा शिरगावकर मॅडम, आपण बोलू शकता.
ओके, thank you. Before I start the presentation, I must really thank Sanskrit Department and Krutayan for arranging this lecture series in honor of my late father, Professor Sadashiv A. Dange. In fact, analytical interpretation of words and connecting them with many cultural phases, that particular knack has come to me in blood because of the long heritage of my father and of course my mother. So I begin now my presentation. I hope you all can see this.
Yes, yes.
Okay, yes. So as has been already announced by our dear friend, Dr. Suchitra Tajne, the topic today is cultural history of medieval Maharashtra through Lavanis. I have been researching on this particular topic since past more than actually 20 years. In 2000, I got UGC grant, and that topic was language and culture history of Lavanis in medieval Maharashtra. So I wanted actually to undertake this research because I was fortunate enough in getting the original Lavanis from the collection of Yashwant Dinkar Kelkar. And I must here tell you a small incident. my former student whom I taught at MA in history. Today he is a big shot in the field of numismatics, Dr. Shailendra Bhandare. He happened to go to Pune and meet Mr. Vinayak Dinkar Kelkar, the son of Vinayak Yashwant Kelkar, the son of Yashwant Dinkar Kelkar. And at that time, Mr. Vinayak Kelkar was in two minds as to what is to be done about the Lavani collection of his late father. And I used to share my ideas with Shailendra at that time. That was around, say, 1999, 2000. And even little before, I think, because in 2000, I got this project. So this incident was pre-2000. And then he said, you just please wait. I will inform my madam, Dr. Varsha Shirgaonkar, and she will definitely take care of the Lavani collection. You see, I not only got the Lavani collection from this particular house, I can say, but you see, Yashwant Kelkar has even made some of his own remarks in red pencil on these Lavanis. And these have been extremely useful to me. Some small notes, some small scribblings, and some kind of notes or something like that. So whenever I started the research on Lavanis, these have been extremely useful to me. Now, at that time also, Vinayak Kelkar was nearly 70 years. Then thereafter, we totally lost the contact. But the Lavani collection is still with me. And whatever research I have put in today, or by today, I can say, it is, I would say, about 50% only. There are many Lavanis which need interpretation. Like, for example, there are Hindi Lavanis also. I could not really venture into interpretation of these Hindi Lavanis. Off and on, I could read them. I'm reading them at the moment also. But there are many word symbols which need to be interpreted. So maybe my research on the Lavanis will definitely go on. So here we come to the first slide. In the first slide, I'm trying to explain the historicity of Lavanis. Historicity is historical importance or authenticity from historical viewpoint of the Lavanis. And as I said, these Lavanis are actually a great resource of cultural history of medieval Deccan. Now, I'm not just using the word Maharashtra here because the Shahirs were moving minstrels. That is, they used to go from place to place, even though they got Varshasan, that is some annual remuneration from a particular Peshwa. There was no restriction that they would be stuck there and give their presence every day. So they used to go to such houses which the Peshwas had befriended, with whom the Peshwas had alliance also. So naturally, the Shahirs had lot of exposure. That is why I'm not having that particular word, geographically limiting word Maharashtra. So Deccan would mean Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, even little bit borderline of Gujarat also, one can say, given the medieval times. We all know that Lavanis are a folk performance of medieval Deccan. By and large, the Shahiri literature or the literature compositions, that is oral compositions of the Shahirs, is divided. They are divided into two, that is Povadas and Lavanis. The popular belief was that Povadas, a Povada would be the one having Virashri, and Lavani would be the one having delicacy as that of a female body. But this kind of popular description of Lavani is actually not true, when we understand various Lavanis and their contents, we will find that there were Lavanis on cities, on festivals, on seasons. So it's not that only a female body was associated with the Lavanis. But one thing is there, lot of Lavanis came to be composed during the Peshwa period. Now, while undertaking the study of Lavanis as a sources of cultural history, I always was very particular, even today I am particular, that it should be a three-dimensional study. Lavanis are the literary compositions, but while understanding the cultural symbols which they throw, I must have the repository of the material evidence. And the material evidence would be actual going to the Vadas, photographing the wall paintings, then also seeing other objects of culture. Other objects of culture prominently would be the jewelry patterns. And of course, the third one, which I have put here in the second, in the slide actually, the Peshwa Daptar records. Because you see, these oral compositions, they need to be supported by the Peshwa Daptar records. Otherwise, we cannot establish their authenticity, the historicity. So right from the beginning, I had this kind of three-dimensional view in my mind. For the jewelry, I approached Vaman Hari Pethe. Raja Bahu Pethe, who was there at that time, he welcomed me. And when I gave him a list of the ornaments which are listed in the Lavanis, he said, just give me some 2-3 days. And then on his own, he phoned me saying that all these jewelry patterns we have at home. Actually, there is a family connection between the Pethes and the Peshwas. Pethes were the mama of the Peshwa family. Naturally, they have the original patterns of the Peshwa time jewelry. And the custom in their house, as was told by Raja Bhupethe to me, was that our daughter-in-law wears all those traditional jewelry items on the wedding day. And then, of course, all those ornaments go back again to the family treasury. But he was saying, and I mean, when I saw, I could understand the very richness of the ornaments. And he said, it is very difficult for the woman to wear all of them and bow down to each and every elder, because otherwise she will get so many scratches on her body, so many heavy bangles, todas, patlis, so many hairs in her neck and all that. He was telling in utter jovial manner, but then it was very true. Some of them I will be showing here also in 1 or 2 slides as such. And then there were other items also, which we can say I got from certain Department of Archaeology and Museum we have, and they have a museum at Aund and at Kolhapur also, at Satara. So I could see some of these objects also from here. Naturally, these objects, when they figure in the Lavanis, what do they mean? Do they convey anything more? Do they convey some trade relations? That was my viewpoint. Do they also convey some other structures, like the mint structures and all? These are the points that I will be discussing here. So I hope by now my three-dimensional methodology for establishing the historicity of Lavanis is clear to my dear friends. And Lavani actually is a kind of folk memory. It is said that this particular oral composition had a great tradition since, say, 11th, 12th century CE. but the Lavanis came to be written after 1890s. There is a great contribution of Shankar Tukaram Shaligram and Harry Ackworth, who was a civil servant at Satara. In fact, Ackworth's name is also connected with leprosy. Some of you may be knowing that we have leprosy home at Vadala, and it is called Ackworth Leprosy Home. It has the statue of Ackworth. So that was his social work, administrative work, but at the same time, he was very much interested in collecting these ballads or the oral compositions. And hence, with the help of Shankar Tukaram Shaligram, he collected these and he brought out the books. And so we have got these written Lavanis. Written Lavanis in the sense they were transliterated into Devanagari script. I'm using the word transliterated because they were scribbled in Modi earlier. So these Modi scribbled compositions, they were done. The Balbodhi Karan, Shankar Tukaram Shaligram, he sat with these Modi compositions and he transliterated them into Devanagari. And that is how these first compositions were published after 1890. There are two types of Lavanis from the point of view of performance. But here we will be slightly touching upon performance, but more of it will be the linguistic structure of the Lavanis, which we will be discussing here. But from the performance point of view, we have got two types of Lavanis, that is Phadachi Lavani and Baithakichi Lavani. Now, Phad, as you understand, is the troupe of Tamasha. Tamasha's a Phad. And the Lavani which was performed there was called Phadachi Lavani. While there was another one which was reserved for very few royal people and well-off patrons, that was the Baithakichi Lavani, where the performer would sit in the Baithak form, Baithak Mandun, and then she would just do some hand gestures and the facial expressions. So she would actually make the Lavani speak through such gestures. While in Phad, you will find that there was a female dancer, but the female dancer did not come on the Phad before Pathe Bapurao's Putala came on the Phad in the at the end of 19th and beginning of 20th century. Earlier, there would be a Nacha, that is an effeminate boy dressed up as a woman. That was in Phadachi Lavani. But as I said, we are not interested in the performance part as such. You will find that Baithakichi Lavani has that kind of tradition of Kothewali, one can say, the northern tradition, where that culture of songs, of classical music was preserved. And especially those Lavanis that were then sung based on ragas, those Baithakicha Lavanya, those that were sung with the ragas, they came to be known as Ragdaricha Lavanya. During the latter Peshwa period, that is from say 1750 onwards, we will find that there was a kind of competition, one can say, among different Shahirs to compose the Shrungarik Lavani, because there was an atmosphere which got created in and around Pune city. How that we are going to see. And that particular atmosphere was congenial for the composition of Shrungarik Lavanis. The famous Shahirs during Peshwa period were Honaji Bala, Parshuram, Ramjoshi, Prabhakar, Anant Fandi, and Sagan Bhau. These are said to be the prominent, famous Shahirs about whom we get some documentary evidence with regards to they getting the honorarium on some festive occasions, etc. But Yana Kelkar says that about 125 Shahirs' names are found in the Lavanis, and actual number of the Shahirs seems to be around 400. So this was a kind of huge patronage of the Peshwas and their Sardars to the Shahirs. We have got some historical information about the performers. Shahir Ram Joshi, and these are only some examples I'm giving because otherwise it will not fit in the time span. Shahir Ram Joshi, he was receiving the annual payment, that is Varshasan, of rupees 125. Honaji Bala, whose FUD, actually, why this is, they are actually two different personalities. Even though we say Honaji Bala. Honaji was one, Bala was another. Earlier, Bala was having the association of Bahiru, and both of them had the Tamasha FUD, Bala Bahirucha Tamasha. But later on, Honaji joined this. See, some of you might have watched the old movie of V. Shantaram, Amar Bhupali, Arthat Honaji Bala. Beautiful movie. I'm writing an article on that now. So that actually gives us information as to how Honaji was pulled into this Tamasha FUD despite his mother not wanting it. But at the same time, you will find that we have got some documentary evidence that Honaji was receiving the Bidagi. He had received the Bidagi. Actually, Bidagi is the honorarium for a particular occasion, for festive occasion especially. So in the Holi festival of 1786-87, he had got rupees 10 at that time. And in the year 1791-92, he received rupees 15. Information about other prominent Shahirs is also available through their small biographies, which were published in the beginning of 20th century. So we have got some evidence with regards to Anant Fandi. Anant Fandi was actually going on to visit Ahilyabai Holkar. And there is a very interesting episode here that on the way he met some hills. And the hills did not allow him to go. And they said, as it is, the hills were the forest community, and they wanted Anant Fandi and his troop to give away all their money. So Anant Fandi asked that Bhil Sardar, a person, who is your Sardar? And then he pointed out to one particular person. Anant Fandi, there and there itself, composed a particular kavya, povada, in his honor. And he was so pleased that he gave his two people, two bhils, with this FUD, so that they could visit Indore safely. So some such, you see, kind of accounts we find through their small biographies. Classical women dancers are also mentioned in the courts of Peshwa. Now, we are just mentioning some, but there are quite a few actually. And the Peshwa Daftar records also speak about honorarium or even the houses being given to them. Say, for example, Chandri is mentioned as a leading Kalavantin during Peshwa Bajirao II's time on the monthly salary of rupees 1,000. Then there were spacious houses in Shukravar Pet given to her and Saguni. Payment of rupees 26,000 was given to Venkat Narsi for dancing for 3 consecutive nights. Imagine, for 3 consecutive nights she danced and she received this particular payment. And one interesting point with regards to Venkat Narsi is that there is a kind of association of hers with Honaji Bala. Honaji, one can say, not Bala per se, but Honaji was composing the Lavanis, and they both were giving the raga, the formation to these Lavanis. You see, there is some kind of picturization, portrayal of this particular thing in that same movie, Amar Bhupali also. So you will find that Honaji and Venkat Narsi both are credited with the emergence of Ragdaricha Lavanya. Then we have got the performance of Venkat Narsi and Dharmi Pari during the Ganesh festival of 1796. Then there is also another one, that is Hira, who is reported in some records as another well-known dancer. We will find that the Shahirs were actually the moving minstrels. As I said earlier, the Shahirs, even though we are getting the Varshasan or even other benefits from the Peshwa court or the courts of their Sardars like Nana Fadnes, Raste or so, we will find that the Shahirs had mobility also beyond Maharashtra. So here is one particular map, India in 1805. That's the beginning of 19th century. Exactly the period that we are talking about. And as you will be seeing that Nizam's dominions were here. And then we have got Rajputana here. It's called Rajput's state. And then we have got, this is the whole portion of the Maratha states. They used to go from here to Gujarat, to Ahmedabad, because in Baroda and Ahmedabad, there were Gaikwads who were appointed as Sardars. So we have got some Lavanis in the honor of Gaikwads also. Then they used to go to Nizam state also. And then the Maratha states, these are the Maratha states. And then Maratha states also included Tanjavur. So here you will find that there are certain Lavanis. In fact, Tristhali Yatrecha Lavanya, there is a particular composition, and Tanjavari Lavanya, there is another composition. Yesterday, I made a mention of Dr. Vivekanand Gopal of Tanjavur. And for that, actually, I must thank our dear friend, Dr. Madhavi Narsale, because she gave me his contact number. And then I could speak to him. Now, yesterday I gave the mention, I made the mention of Dr. Gopal as the one who gave me escort for one Yama temple, but his original work, please remember, is on the Tanjavari Lavanis. So those were in Tamil actually, and these Tamil Lavanis, he then translated them into Devanagari. I have that particular composition with me. And the interesting part of these Tanjavari Lavanis is that when you read, they appear to be, they sound to be the Lavanis of Maharashtra region. But off and on, you will find there are some words. And then you can understand, yes, they were performed before the Tanjavari audience. Because this was a speciality of Shahirs. That is, whenever they went to a particular place, beforehand, they would know, they would find out. It was an exercise, must be for them also. They used to find out the language of that particular region. And then they used to put some words, you know, which are peculiar to that region. So that getting patronage and getting recognition to them as Shahirs was very easy. So here we have got very interesting reference, Urdachi Soji. We don't make Urdachi Soji in Maharashtra, but in Tamil Nadu it is made. Similarly, there is a particular eatable Okay, muruk. You know, it is rice chakli, murukke. Okay, and then we will find it is very interesting that the heroine is offering the hero kapi, coffee. So it is very interesting to read these and to reconstruct. You see what region they must have visited. So suppose today, this particular Tanjavari Lavani collection, I was not reading as Tanjavari Lavani collection, but they were mixed. You see, with all different kinds of Lavnis and all. Still, a researcher can find out from certain words in the Lavani as to where and before which type of audience the Shahir must have composed the Lavani. So we take another particular instance of Anant Fandi, Punyat Bajirao, Badodyat Fateh Singh Maharaj. So we can understand that when Bajirao second, he is referring to Bajirao second. Please remember, during Bajirao first time, these Shrungarik Lavnis were not there. Bajirao first died in 1740. After 1740, we have got the rule of Nana Sahib Peshwa till 1761. That is till the third battle of Panipat. But during his time, Shrungarik Lavnis came to be patronized, and that patronage continued till the downfall of the Peshwas in 1818. That is till Peshwa Bajirao II was totally won over by the British. So here we have to understand such historical connections also. When he says Punyat Bajirao, that means he is Bajirao II, and Badodyat Fateh Singh Maharaj, because they were contemporaries. And then Sagan Bhau especially has composed some Hindi Lavnis also. So it is quite possible that he was going to even Uttar Pradesh, Bhopal region to perform his Lavani. Now Marathi Lavnis, you will find, they have, and practically all, but as I told you, Hindi Lavnis and all, they need to be proper reconstruction of history. They have lot of glimpses of cultural life, and the words are indicative of the changing culture. One by one, we will be seeing them. We have got the word Haveli in the Lavnis. This word Haveli is indicative actually of affluent living. But interestingly, we have got the portrayal of Havelis also in the wall paintings. I'm going to show some wall paintings also. Then we have got another particular aspect which is seen in the Lavnis, festivals. And prominently, there is description of Rangotsav after Holi. That is what we call Rangapanchami. Actually, this Rangotsav has come to Maharashtra during the time of Savai Madhavrao Peshwa. How, that we will be seeing. And then we have got some here and there Lavnis also on Dasra, Sankranti, Nagpanchami, etc. Various types of textiles are seen in Lavnis, but they come in poetic imagery. Examples will be given later. Similarly, the entire trade route coming from Uttar Pradesh to Pune via Burhanpur, one can actually unfold this kind of trade route also. We have definitely different types of jewelry mentions, and precious stones are also mentioned in the Lavnis. Interestingly, some Lavnis also indicate the Shahir's knowledge about the mint structure, and the numismatic references are there in some Lavanis. Now, we come to the first aspect, first point that we said, that is Haveli. Actually, in the historical records like Peshwa Daftar, Peshwa Diaries, even other, say, you see, Yadis and all that, we will never get the word Haveli. We will get the word Vada only. Say, suppose there are some expenses towards the Vada and all that. So naturally, it will be Vada for the construction of Vada and all that. But then you will find that Haveli comes only in the Shrungarik Lavanis. The famous Lavani is of Shahir Ram Joshi, Sundara Manamade Bharali, Haveli Ta Shirali. And thereafter it is Motyacha Bhang, which is prominently seen. So you will find that this young, beautiful lady is entering the Haveli. Now, why this particular Haveli term must have been used? It's very interesting to note that Haveli was the palatial abode of the Rajput princes. But that word traveled here to Maharashtra, which actually sort of gave an exaggerated meaning of abundance to the Vadas. So how the Peshwas were rich that they were staying in Haveli. And interestingly, at that time, when certain Rajasthani painters were commissioned for doing the wall paintings in Shanivar Vada and in the Vadas like, say, of Sardar Raste, Nanasaheb Phadnis and all that, you will find that these painters, they were also portraying the Havelis. Now, whether they themselves were habituated to this kind of pattern, portrayal pattern, or whether the Sardars asked them to paint the Havelis on the wall paintings, that is not clear. But here I have got some examples. See, this is Motibag Raste Vada Vai. This is about 3-4 kilometers from the main city of Vai. It was really hard going there, but I could go there during my UGC, that grant which I got for the project. And there were also other two with me, and these photographs are actually clicked by my student Sandeep Mayekar, who traveled with me. And you will find that this particular Vada, it is called Moti Bagh, and it was of Raste Sardars. It was not a regular Vada in the sense this Vada was constructed for luxury and comfort. Main habitat or the Vada of Rastes is in Pune. Some part of it they have kept now also. But this Vada, I don't know. I have not gone there since so many years now. In 2000 May, we had visited this Vada. And as you can see on the Madi of that, on the first floor, there are these wall paintings. I was really very fortunate that late Anandrao Raste Sardar, he's no more now, he gave me permission, and I have kept all these written permissions with me safely. As you will be seeing here, this is the Haveli pattern. And inside Haveli, you have got a small scene. One lady and her two lady attendants. Similarly, here, this particular picture is showing Ram Lakshman. And that also is in a Haveli only. You can see this kind of decoration. This is a typical wooden frame, arch frame, which you can find also on the Maratha structures, architecture, actually. And inside that, so this is a kind of frame which is also painted, and inside that frame, it is having a three-dimensional kind of view, as you also can see here. So you will find that this Vada was the concept which was local as an abandoned mansion, but Haveli is definitely used to sort of enhance the whole getup of the Vada. Now, Vada cannot be complete without the gardens and orchards. Okay, and that description has to come along with the Haveli in compositions. Now here I will just read out one say portion of Prabhakar's Lavani, that is in Marathi. Keli narali bori bakula phanas avali अंगुर खिरण्या द्राक्षीस घड लोंब मुंढावळी लिंब लिंबोणी जांब अननस बदाम वट डाळिंबी सुफल चांगल्या सीताफळी दुसऱ्या खारका. This was the description of different fruit plantation, the orchards. Then we come to the fragrant flowers plantation. Jai Zui Jaswandi, that is Gulala, Gulab, Guladavari, Suvarna, Champaka, Bakula, Mogare, Surangi, Pula Shevari. Ishkapech is a particular flower, possibly this is Nishigandha. Gula Chabu, Sadodita Shevanti Savari. Paryataka, that is Parijata. Gula Topa, Gula Gulita, Jali, Jali, Kamalana, Bavari. This is the description which you get in one Lavani of Prabhakar. Then Prabhakar goes further. He says, Ratri Motiya Phulalage, Drakshanse Mandapabai, Padade Chikache Bhovati, Sabhe Madhe, Sora Vatage, Kachechi Karanji, Kandila Shobhati, Khamba Suruce, Avadata Swami Ge, Parastricha Kami Ge. There is a kind of grief in the mind of the heroine, which Prabhakar has pointed out. So despite having this particular Vaibhav, the actual heroine of the Haveli is sad because her master is with another woman. Now I'm going to even explain this Kachechi Karanji and all in the later slides. Yeah, so we were saying that the Havelis were in Rajasthan. Actually, I am very thankful to Professor Dr. A.D. Sawant when he was the Vice Chancellor in University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. For the first time, I could visit this particular place because he appointed me as advisor to their Center for Museology and Conservation. Though he was there only for 1 year, my ties with University of Rajasthan, Jaipur continue till today, and they will be there forever, I'm sure. So during one of my visits, I could see this Podar Haveli. You see this Podar College. We all know Podar College, very famous college in Matunga. I mean, of our Shikshan Prasar Mandali, where I was student of Ruya and also I taught at Ruya College. So Podar was a sister college as such. So they have their original Haveli in Navalgarh, in Shekhawati district of Sikar, Shekhawati region of Sikar Taluka, Rajasthan. This is the Haveli Chowk. Okay. And then Morarka Haveli, Navalgarh. So you will find that these wall paintings, why I'm showing them? Because this is the whole tradition which later came into Maharashtra. Of course, there is another opinion that possibly painting on walls was done even earlier. We have got evidence in Dhaneshwari, also in say Mahanubhav literature. And actually, when I was reading the book of Dr. Sindhu Dange, she gives us instance that Ruha Devi, that particular goddess, is to be propitiated with actually the paintings. And if the painting is not done, then that house was giving a melancholic look. But you see, continuous chain-like paintings, theme-like paintings, because when we went there, we could find that three paintings in a row, they are having a particular theme. So maybe that kind of you see pattern Maharashtra took from Rajasthan. So we come to the next slide. You see, this is the Shaniwar Vada, and we will find that Bajirao the First, this is the only picture of Shaniwar Vada which we are having right now. And this is also, I'm told it is in Pune University also. And then see, this thing is done newly. Of course, I have taken it from the net. This is the painting of Peshwa Savai Madhavrao in Darbar, and it was done by Charles Mallet. So interestingly, some of these paintings which are there today in the British Museum or in Victoria and Albert Museum, they have survived. But Shaniwar Vada, actually, you will find that it got burned. See, Peshwa Bajirao the First and laying of foundation stone was done. We will just take the development of Shaniwar Vada, how it was done. Since that particular description which we had of the Haveli, that is actually of Shaniwar Vada, if you go to see. So when was it built? That the foundation stone was, that is Muhurta, on 10 January 1730. And it was done by Bajirao the First Peshwa. See, it is said that when Bajirao, along with some choicest Sardars, went in search of a place for building a Vada for himself, on one tract of land, he found that a small hare was actually trying to attack a hound, that is a hunting dog, and the hunting dog was running. It was an amazing scene. Now this information is given in D.B. Parasnis' book Pune in the Bygone Days. In that book also, we have got some pictures of Shaniwar Vada and some valuable information. So this information actually shows that Bajirao the First was very much enchanted by that place, because it seemed to be having a kind of divine signal. And so he decided to have the palace on this particular land. Then within 2 years, 2-storied buildings with 3 quadrangles came in there. Vastu Shanta of the Vada was done on 22nd January 1732. But then later you will find it was Nana Sahib Peshwa who was given the administrative sanat. See, in 1749, Shahu, Emperor Shahu, that is the grandson of Chhatrapati Shivaji, that is the son of Sambhaji Maharaj. He died. Shahu died in 1749. But before his death, he gave one sanat to Nana Sahib Peshwa, which gave him administrative authority. There was a struggle with regards to the Chhatrapati seat after 1749. So Nana Sahib Peshwa, that is Balaji Bajirao, he diplomatically decided to shift himself from Satara, that was the seat of actually Chhatrapati, to Pune. Because already in Pune, there was Shaniwar Wada, which his grandfather had built. His father had built. So he decided to come there. And then he expanded this particular Wada. And we have got Nachacha Diwan Khana, Ganesh Mahal, or Ganpati Ranga Mahal, Jinnas Khana, Ajab Khana. All these different dalans were built. Ganpati Ranga Mahal is often spoken in the British records because this was also the Darbar Hall. Can you see that Ganpati here, the idol of Ganpati put here? So this huge Vada used to be also having the function of administrative meetings, many diplomatic meetings. And this is actually the scene of Savai Madhavrao Peshwa. As you can see, Savai Madhavrao Peshwa is seated, you see, on the load, that is the Marathi word. And here you will find these actually must have been the wall paintings earlier. The British records also tell us that there were wall paintings of mythological scenes. Now, having given this background, we come to this interesting slide. Wall painting, as I said, became the integral part of the beautification of the Vadas along with the orchards and gardens. The same Prabhakar, whose some portions of the Lavani I have just narrated, at one place he says, Bhintivari lihili chitre phara, sagara manthana dashavatar, Gajendra nakracha uddhar, Mandila mahishasura samhar. This description most probably is in connection with Shaniwar Vada. But here I have got some pictures from the private Vadas as such. Recently, there is a very young artist, Shilpa Patspor, who did her doctorate on the Peshwa murals. And she has used these in her thesis. So, courtesy is hers here. As Prabhakar says, this is the Sagar Manthan scene, as you can see here. Then we have also Gajendra Nakracha Uddhar. Then here we have got Govardhan Parvata. And then here we have got Mahishasura Mardini. So you will find that even the Sardars then commissioned the Rajasthani painters to have the paintings in their respective Vadas. When the Shahirs composed the Lavanis, they must have seen these wall paintings. As we can find, the documentary evidence shows that Chitaris were brought from Jaipur and other places in Rajasthan. Chitari is the Chitrakar, the one who does, okay, even the sketch and all that. And prominent Chitaris that are referred to in Peshwa Daptar, PDE's Peshwa Daptar records, their names are Raghav, Tanaji and Anup Rao. It is seen from the records that Jivaji Ganesh Khadzgi Wale was actually appointed to get these Sardar Chitaris commissioned. And hence you will find that his letters, there are some letters of Jivaji Ganesh Khadzgi Wale to Peshwa Nana Sahib. And accordingly, in his letters, we can get these references, Raghav Tanaji and Anup Rao. Here, I would say that these are the wall paintings, fantastic wall paintings from the Menavli Vada of Nana Sahib Fadnis, Nana Fadnis, the Sardar, who was given actually the Jagir of Menavli. And I'm really fortunate that his descendant, Ashok Fadnis, he gave me permission to use these wall paintings. Now here you will find that this is the Ras scene, Ras Leela. Often in the compositions of Lavanis, we have got the reference of Ras Leela. Interesting part of this Ras Leela is that the Gaulans, as you can see, are wearing 9-yard saris, and their ornaments are typical Brahmani ornaments, as you can see. See, each one has nath in the nose. Then there is motyasa bhang. Then there is khopa. On the khopa, there are ornaments. Here, if you see very closely, this particular is the scene of royal snan, Shahi snan of a young lady. And this must be an attendant. She's throwing water there on that, I mean on her head. And if you see these small objects, they are like attar dani, gulab dani. Please remember that these objects also came to Maharashtra during this period. Maharashtra had not seen these earlier. It was actually Noor Jahan who created gulab attar, and the Mughals regularly had one karkhana, okay, where they could make these fragrances. So that traveled to Maharashtra also, and the make gulab dani and all. In fact, we have got some of the royal orders in Peshwa Daftar records, where the Peshwas and their Sardars, Peshwas rather, are asking their northern Sardars to send the gulab dani and all. And that also Nana Sahib Peshwa only has given one order that you should get this particular water from the river Ganga, and the rose flower plantation we will do here. Types of textiles are also there as poetic imagery. Various types which are mentioned, they show that the Shahirs understood the context, the value, the prices, and the texture of these textiles. Some of the names which I have picked here: Mukesi, Ghazni, Kinkhap, Mehmudi, Chit, Malmal, Zhuna, Mashru, and of course Paithan. Now the Mukesi type is derived, the word Mukesi is derived from the Persian word Mukes, and it means of gold or silver shine. So it further means, this particular sari means a type of sari with gold brocade. Now, how it has come in the sense of poetic imagery? A line in one Lavani says, Gora deha otiva kanchan kaisi zashi unsa mukesi. Unsa means rich. How is your body? Gora deha. Everybody understands that your fair complexioned body is like gold, and it is giving the look as that of a rich Mukesi. See, a document of 6 December 1734 mentions 10 Mukesis in the list of exquisite clothes. Then there is Ghazni. Now, I cannot give you the details of various types of documents, but there are ample of them. If in case you want to see them, you can see my Marathi book, Peshwanse Vilasi Jeevan, published by Continental Prakashan. Now it has come, the new edition also has come this year only. And moreover, another book, that is cultural history, 18th century Deccan cultural history of the Peshwas, that will give you more details, in fact. Now we come to the other type, that is Ghazni. This is not a sari, but it is a cloth material of half cotton and half silk, having stripes. Various types of Ghazni, Ghaznis are seen as gifts to be given on festive occasions. So in Peshwe Yadis and all that, we have got a long list as to how many Ghaznis are to be given, how many Mukesis are to be given to, say, performers, to the female relatives, and so many actually. Now here I have picked up 3 examples. The first one is the pallu of Banarasi Shalu with parrots. Okay, you can see these parrots in green here. Then the second example, pallu of Banarasi Shalu with rich zari brocade. Maybe Dr. Sindhu Dange will recognize this. This is the pallu of her mother's sari, Banarasi sari. That is the original one. And that's why I have taken the photograph of that. And then the last one is mushroom, which is having the stripes. We come to the mention of jewelry. As I said, maybe I have, oh, sorry. Yeah, we have got Paithani and Kinkhap. Also, Kinkhap, I have mentioned earlier. Now, we all know that Paithan was an important place for fabric. Actually, the antiquity of this particular fabric is established by even Periplus of Erythraean Sea. He says that this particular place had good fabric. And in medieval times also, you will find that Paithan became an important center. There is some kind of reference here that Nilufar, the daughter-in-law of the Nizam, she actually picked up some symbols and trained also the artisans, local artisans. Now, these local artisans, from where they might have got the symbols on the saris, it is said that they took these symbols from Ajanta caves. See, while doing this particular project, I also had mentioned NIFT, National Institute of Fashion Technology. And there I could see one project done on the Paithanis by the students after meeting the artisans and after understanding their tradition, actually, because they are the traditions of, they have the tradition of these, so generations after generations, they have been doing this work. So I could read in the report that they had picked up, their original forefathers had picked up these symbols from the Ajanta caves. Now, you see, there is a very interesting line in the Lavani. Mulayam sharira tujhe jase bharzari paithancha juna. I was discussing this with Mr. Pethe, this particular word, and he said, in those days, the brides used to be small girls, and hence small paithanis used to be made for them. Small paithani was called Zuna. He had given me a picture of the Zuna. Also, of course, not all pictures I could incorporate here. So one can understand that girl bride was very soft and she was very lustrous, appearing like Paithansa Zuna. Now here the examples are, one is the Anjiri Paithani with Raghu Maina, and then the second one is Morabangadi, then Kinkhap. There is very interesting line in Honaji, in Honaji's Lavani, Tuza Gojirvana Mukhada Jasa Kinkhapacha Tukada. So you see, when we read these Lavanis, we have to actually take these words, analyze these words, connect them with the textile patterns of that time and possibly with the trade also. Of course, this kind of reconstruction of words is not possible unless we see the original Peshwa Daftar and Peshwa diaries and other historical records. Then we come to, then we come to jewelry. Lavani of Sagandhau has a long list, nearly of 32 ornaments, right from the head to the toe. Bindis is full, galyatila and all that. But last line is Battis abharane avachala dravya gathi. Means altogether there are 32 ornaments. Okay. Lavani of Prabhakar also gives similar description. We come to these little later. I mean, this explanation, but here I will just show you that this was the head ornament coming on the forehead. This is Motyacha Bhango. Initially, we saw that Ramjoshi's Lavani has Sundara Manamadhe Bharali, Havelita Shirali, Motyacha Bhango. Then you will find that this particular ornament was to be worn on a khopa. It has the clip, or one can say that some kind, it used to be tucked on the khopa, the second one. Inside that, at the center, one can find a peacock. There is an emerald in the peacock's tummy. And if you see closely, it has 3 pearls in the beak. Interestingly, we have, you see, description, rather convention, to say that Motyacha Chara was possible only for the royal peacocks, that is those who were abundant sardars. They used to have pet peacocks, and they were so rich that they would feed their peacock also Motyacha Chara. This is very interesting. That is how this particular ornament needs to be interpreted. Then coming to these two, I would like to give you a little more information. You will find that there is a reflection of precious stones and pearls, and they also come in the context of poetic imagery. Say, for example, Honaji at one place says, Purna Chandra Mukhi Dhala Jasa Bandara Surati Dana. Means your face is lustrous like a full moon, and it has the abha like Surati Dana. Surti Dana means, and Bandara Surti Dana means the pearl which is offloaded at Surat Bandar. Now, you will find that at other places, or even in the royal orders, we have got the words Guladhava and Hormuji Moti for the best quality pearls. Now, why this is Hormuji? Because this was from Hormuz in Persia. From Persia, the pearls traveled up to Surat and they used to be offloaded. Now, you will find that Hunaji and other Shahirs were exactly knowing this kind of trade route, isn't it? Like it was coming from Hormuz, it was offloaded at Surat, and then it should be having dhava. Gula dhava means it should be having the luster of that of a jaggery syrup. See, when we are making any sweet meat with jaggery syrup, if you take your spoon little higher up and try to pour that syrup, it has a particular luster of yellowish color. So these pearls should be guladhava in nature. That was the particular condition also in the royal orders. That is, when they were placing the orders with the royal, with their sardars in say Gujarat and other places, then it was made very clear that these motis should be hormuji and they should be guladhava. Now you see these motis, these three ornaments are here having these pearls. This is scarf, which would cover the entire ears. Then this is chinsapeti, or a kind of choker. So we have got two, three lines of pearls, and then the lines of rubies or some other precious jewel. This particular ornament was called pohochi, but it was a bracelet by men. So we have got examples that the men also used to wear the ornaments, and this is one of them. We have the royal orders that pahuchi karaichi ahe, and that is why you must get the stones. Now here I want to even give you a little more information. Bajirao the First, he saved Chhatrasal Bundela from the attack of Muhammad Khan Bangash, the Mughal Sardar, okay, a Mughal feudal lord, because Muhammad Khan Bangash was demanding Chhatrasal Bundela's territory, entire Bundelkhand, and he had written a secret letter to Bajirao the First, requesting him to save him from such a dangerous attack. So when Bajirao the First raised his army, he came there to Malwa and Bundelkhand region, and he gave protection to Chhatrasal Bundela by defeating Muhammad Khan Bangash. That is Chhatrasal Bundela, gave Bajirao the First 1/3 share of the diamond mines in Bundelkhand. This entire episode with details comes in a historical document called Govind Pant Bundelanchi Kaifiyat. Why Govind Pant Bundele? Actually, Govind Pant, his name was earlier a Sardar, and Bajirao then appointed Govind Pant there. So his surname became Bundele. As it is, Bajirao could not keep a control over these diamond mines as such, naturally, which he got from Chhatrasal Bundela. So he had to appoint some Sardars there. So Govind Pant Bundela was some such Sardar. And naturally, you will find that there was the gain from the diamond mines of the diamonds to the Peshwa family. So you will find that some such connections started with North from Bajirao the First time. And that's why their jewelry also started becoming very rich. Here I am just trying to give you one maritime trade route of gems and pearls. As you will find here, Hormuz in Persia. So from Hormuz, the gems, especially the pearls, used to come to Surat. They used to be offloaded at Surat, and then further they would be brought to Maharashtra. Now here is another particular slide which I would like to give you, and you will find this very interesting. This is Putalyanchi Mal, which is having the Vagnak. And Pethe told me that this kind of ornament with Vagnak is worn by the Koli women especially. Now, Putalyanchi Mal, actually this particular ornament is inspired by the Venetian coins. Original name of a gold coin which was seen on the coastline of, say, western coastline of India was Zechino or Sequin. one has to understand that during medieval times, there was no coin found in India with any natural scene or the face of the human being. Islamic rulers never gave permission because it was like competing with the Allah. And that is why on one coin, on one side of the coin, there used to be some Quranic message khutbah, and on the other side, the regnal year and the name of the respective sultan. Naturally, when merchants came from Venetia at that time, it was called Venetia. When the merchants came, they brought with them their own coins. Indian merchants found this to be a very interesting coin because this was having a lot of detailing. It was having the picture of the elected king of Venice called Doge. And Doge was shown with a saint of Venice, kneeled and bowing down to Jesus. It should be Jesus. And the other side of the coin, beautiful description, the scene of child Jesus amid stars. You see, now Christmas is approaching next month, and you will be seeing some posters with a child Jesus having a small stick and he's sprinkling the stars as if. So similar scene was seen on the other side of the coin. Now this particular coin then was imported to the Deccan for its beauty and novelty, it was known. Some Indian merchants started making the har necklace for the women of their house, with these coins. And these coins then were known as putali because there was a statue. Okay, so they could relate that word with the impressions on the coin, the putali coin. Later on, some Indian merchants must have thought, why have a foreign god on this? Why can't we have our own goddess? And that is how you will find Lakshmi Har came. So either Putali Har or Lakshmi Har. So this is the very interesting historical fact of the origin of Putalayanchi Mal. See, the Lavanis also have mentions of different festivals. Rangotsav of Holi was the most vibrant festival because it was all having colors. But interestingly, you will find that till 1793, Maharashtra did not see the Rangotsav. Okay, we call it Rangapanchami. In Bombay and all that, everything is very hectic and we want everything speedily. That is why on the next day we have got Rangapanchami. But actually, Tithi-wise, Rangapanchami is 5 days later. The tradition which is followed even in Kolhapur, Satara region, even presently. But even that was not there at that time. But it so happened that Mahadaji Shinde had been there in the court of Savai Madhavrao Peshwa at that time. And he described the colorful festival which was celebrated in Gokul Vrindavan region. Not only that, but in many Rajputana houses, royal houses. And that is why Savai Madhavrao decided, actually one can say it was Nana Fadnis, because Nana Fadnis was the caretaker of Savai Madhavrao Peshwa. So Nana Fadnis decided that we should also start having the color festival. There is a mention of this festival in one anonymous Lavani. Tase kali madhe rang khelale श्रीमंत आणि पाटील बाबा शके 1715 चैत्र नामादि संवत्सरे. Now Patil Baba, this particular word is indicative of Mahadaji Shinde. So if we try to have the English here from the Shake, then it comes as 1793. I will just read out one particular Lavani here of Honaji. होळी झाली पौर्णिमेसी रंग बहार उडविला पंचमीचे दिवशी, खेळू गडे तुमचे हौशी, या सहित करावी आज्ञा स्वारीसी, रंगे हौदे भरवा, राव सवाई बनसी, माझा हेतू पुरवा, बागेचा बेत ठरवा. So you will find that naturally this colorful festival gave new impetus to the Shahirs to compose the Lavanis. One important thing here I would like to say that there was a mention of Gulal Gota. That is, you see, mica, that is abrak, Gulal used to be filled in the ball of abrak. And then it used to be splashed on the bodies of the friends. Naturally, after breaking, that entire gulal would be there. And a description says that this asamanta used to be filled with the red color. There are several mentions of Gulal Gota, but especially in the Lavanis of Honaji Bala and Prabhakar, this particular word appears. So we have to actually reconstruct these words also and connect them again to the festive occasions and the celebrations of festivals. Other festivals are also there, like Dasra, Sankranti and Nag Panchami. Here we have got one wall painting from Motibag Rastewada. This is showing the holy festival. If you can see it closely, you will find that these Gaulands again are wearing 9-yard saris, but they are having pitskari in hand. And Krishna of blue complexion is shown inside. And this whole episode is as if happening inside the Lavani. And then here you have got the Ganpati festival, Ganesh festival, and there are these attendants, okay, and that is also seen inside the Lavani. Ganesh festival actually was celebrated for 10 days during Peshwa times, but it used to be celebrated from Bhadrapad Pratipada, not like Bhadrapad Chaturthi as we do today. And then you will find that in Ganesh, say Arangamahal, you see, we have seen that Nana Sahib Peshwa, he enhanced Shaniwar Bada by building many dalanas. So in Ganesh Rangamahal, the idol of Ganesha used to be brought, decorated with mirrors and all that. Yeah, then we come to Lavani and mint structure. We have got actually a kind of reference to mint structure, and before we go to that, we have to understand that there was no Reserve Bank, and naturally there were no sort of regulatory bodies in the real sense of the term. But then how did the coinage work? You will find that at many places the sarafs, that is the goldsmiths, were given the right of minting the coins, and they were given a royal mohor. So there were many mints like Bagalkoti mint and Pune mint and many mints like that. But many times it so happened that these local sarafs were in the habit of adulteration. So suppose a particular quantity of silver was given to them for minting the coins, they would at times mix some other metal and used to have adulterated coin. Now, how this adulterated coin used to be found, that is one thing. Actually, such adulteration would be found especially at the time when two warring parties would sit for the peace treaty. So suppose in case Nizam defeated the Marathas and the Marathas were asked to give war indemnity, nuksan bharpai, of say 5,000 silver coins. Please remember, in those days, the intrinsic and the face value of the coin was similar, same. That means if 5,000 rupees coins was the war indemnity, that means 1 silver rupee must get that particular quantity of silver. If that quantity of silver was not there, how to assess that actually, whether the coin was adulterated? On the other side, his own saraf would be sitting. Okay, say Nizam's saraf would be sitting. And suppose the Marathas were giving the coins, then that saraf would have a sharp instrument and he used to heat it and he used to scratch it on the coin, scratch the coin, and he used to inspect it. So suppose that particular liquid was showing some kind of adulteration, then it would be said that the talk was of giving 5,000 coins, but as you have adulterated coins, give us 1,000 more. That was in consultation with the saraf from their side. In Peshwa Daftar, we get quite a few complaints that we have got such adulterated coins and बराच बट्टा द्यावा लागतो. Now what is batta? This additional price which they were paying, you know, for adulterated coins, that was called batta. Now, interestingly, you will find that this batta word came to our language also. Kulala batta lavni means if anybody, you know, did some mischievous thing by which the entire family name was corrupted, then that batta, in that sense, the batta came to be connected with the reputation of the family. So batta word actually has come from the mint word. So coming to the last lines actually, then we will see that in one lavani of Prabhakar, there is a very interesting sentence. Bina battachi meenar माझे मन सर्वांशी मोकळे, means I am a pure person. My mind is open to all because I am bina battachi, means I am unadulterated. Batta. So when such words were used by the composers in front of the audience, please remember that the audience also knew the meaning of this. So how this mint structure comes to us, it is indicative from such lines. Then Honaji Bala's one hero says, Patshahi Shikka mi bin batta. Now, Patshahi Shikka means what? The hone. Please remember, hone of the Mughal emperor and hone of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, both these were without any adulteration. And that is why you will find that Honaji's hero is saying with pride, with confidence, I am Patshahi Shikka, and hence Binabatta. Okay. So apart from that, we have got many coin references like Putali, Mohor, and so many others. So here I have just picked up some examples of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's hone, and this is the Patshahi Shikka. This is coin of Jahangir, Mughal Emperor Jahangir, and that was supposed to be Patshahi Shikka. Just 1 minute, I think in I might have missed some slides by No, I think I have done actually, because there were many slides of different other, say, I just wanted to tell you that when we are talking about the other references like Kachechi, Karanji and all that, there are many letters written also to Kanhoji Angre. And from Kanhoji Angre, we have got also some, say, demands that he should provide us various Menbatya. Okay, 1000 Menbatya. Then we have got Gulab Sise, that is Gulab Attar, means Sise bottle, Gulab Attar and all that. Now, interestingly, when we think about the lighting of the Vadas, we have to remember that these Menbattis or the candles, they were ordered for actually such occasions. And when we talk about the darbars and all that, how the darbars must have been done, they were done with the mashals and all that. At the same time, you will find that Kachechi, Karanji and all that, you see Belgium glass, it was introduced during this particular period. Similarly, I want to give you another particular reference also, that though this word is not in the Lavanis, very rarely it comes, it is said that they were also having Dhuruchi Dabi. Dhuruchi Dabi means mariner's compass. Why it is known as Dhuruchi Dabi? Because it was showing two Dhruvas, north and south. So interesting references are there in the Lavanis, and that is why I think we have to really understand these Lavanis. So here, this is just select bibliography, primary sources. Okay, and as I said, Harry Ackworth and Shankar Tukaram Shalikram, Povadas or Historical Ballads of the Marathas. This is very important book because for the first time, the Lavanis and Povadas were transliterated. And then Vayan Kelkar himself has transliterated many Lavanis and put them into his collection and under his name. The elaborate preface by Vayan Kelkar to Honaji Bala's Lavani collection is very important in knowing the historical period of Honaji Bala. And then, as I was telling you about Tristhali Yatrecha Lavanya, King Sarfoji and Sarabendra Tirthavali. King Sarfoji II actually had given patronage to Shahirs, and I got a chance to visit Tanjavur Palace, and I could see that particular grandeur also, and I could see the original Lavani collections there. So you will find that he was also a patron to many art forms, and not only that, but food preparations also. Interestingly, the food preparation of sambar originates with him. That's a different matter altogether. It will take a little different time, actually more time. So I'm not saying that, but these are the original Lavani collections which I could get from the collection of Vayan Kelkar. D.B. Parasnis book, earlier book I have referred to, Pune in the Bygone Days, but Itihas Sangraha. You see, there are quite a few cultural details which are not necessarily seen in the Peshwa Daftar records. But there is one Peshwa Daftar, volume 4, which is Anandibaichi Dinacharya. And in Anandibaichi Dinacharya, we have got lot of references to Vrata Vaikalyas and all that. And that also could be corroborated with the Lavanis, in fact. And then, of course, J.S. Sardesai Peshwe Daftaratun Nivadlele Kagat, Bard Daftar also. There are huge collections. There are many Modi collections which need to be transliterated also. And as I said, Maheshwari and Wiggins, they have done Maratha mints and coinage. Irfan Habib's work on Atlas of Mughal Empire is quite useful. And of course, I said that I have begun this study in my work, which was published in 2010, which has got 94 color illustrations. In fact, there are references of the games like Ganjifas, but how much to bring, in this 2-hour lecture? So it was very difficult. But interesting references are there of Navagraha Ganjifas and Rashi Ganjifas and all that. So practically the Lavanis have references to all cultural objects, one can say. I mean, everything. You can name it and everything is there in Lavanis. Only Lavanis require many more researchers apart from me to work on them. So I'm really expressing my gratitude to Department of Sanskrit, our little friends like Shakuntala, Madhavi, then our Suchitra Tajane, then Ajay Pense, though I haven't met him. And of course, there are many researchers who are also taking comparative mythology lectures like Brunal and so many. I mean, I'm not even knowing, but I'm sure that my sort of best wishes will be sent to all of them. And please let me know if in case later you want to connect some cultural historiography with mythology, because I think that particular mythology course also will need expansion later on. So I'm always there because this is my extended family, and I feel really overwhelmed that Sanskrit department and Rutayan have organized this year-long lecture series in the honor of my late father. Thank you.
So, are there any questions? So, we'll be glad to take questions. So, Madam, I also felt that while going to while listening to your lecture, that there may be number of different mythological sources also occurring in the Lavanis. So, a study of those sources would be a sort of a reconstruction of religious history, which is there in the popular culture of Maharashtra in those days.
Exactly.
What do you think about it?
Yes. Actually, you see, I didn't speak about that, but then there are some kind of stories related to Shankar Parvati also. And I think, you see, this Tamasha Fad, if we see from the performance viewpoint, first and foremost, they bow down to Gana.
Yeah.
You know, the entire structure of Tamasha is Gana, Gauran, Lavani, then Sawal Jawab. Now, Sawal Jawab actually also need to be reconstructed from mythology viewpoint.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, one party, another party and all that, like different kinds of questions, and these composers, in fact, they are having their linguistic skills and their mythological knowledge also, actually. And see, like in connection with Shahir Ramjoshi, I can say that Vaman Rao at that, sorry, this, who is this?
Vaman Pandit.
Vaman Pandit, yeah. Vaman Pandit and he, they couldn't meet because Vaman Pandit was said to be Panthakavi.
Yeah.
And he became a Lokashahir. But you will find that later at the end, you will find that they really met, and Vaman Pandit actually praised Shahir Ramjoshi for his kavanats and all that. So, you know, that kind of connection also could be brought out. Another particular point, actually, I'm researching out, but I'm not getting any clue whatsoever. See, there is a very lovelorn pair, which is referred to in all Lavanis practically. That is Mohana Batao. Interestingly, the first Vag, see, Tamasha changed its form in the latter 19th century, later 19th century. You see, when the patronage of the Peshwas was lost, when they were going from place to place, you will find them, they tried to have new forms of entertainment clubbed with the Tamasha. And so like that, we have got Vag, Mohana Batao Vag. So Mohana Rani and Batao is actually an ordinary Sardar, one can say. And the story goes like this, that Mohana is the daughter-in-law of a very well-to-do landed family, and her husband is actually in military. He has gone away, and her in-laws are very courteous to any passenger who comes to them for rest. So once Batao comes there, and somehow she develops that feeling for him. And then Batao goes back, of course. But when he is going back, she feels extremely sad that really my love person is going away, even though she is married. Okay, even though she's married, because she possibly doesn't have that kind of association with her husband who is always away. While Batao, who was there for some days at least, maybe there is a kind of love relationship between them. And then you will find that somehow or the other, her husband, who is returning home, he comes to know about it. And so the Shahirs, practically everybody, Sagan Bhau, Honaji Bala and all. So Batao was going through Chandana Vana. And then her husband gives order to burn that Vana. And when she knows about it, Mohana, she runs to that Chandana Vana and goes sati. Interestingly, all the Shahirs have glorified this lovelorn couple. And they say, Bagha, it's like, I'm using my own words, but it's like Mohana, he khari premika. It's like that, you know, that kind of message is given here. Now, from where this particular story has come and inducted into Lavanis, I really don't know. I tried to ask on the platform when I was invited to give a session, conduct a session in the refresher course also of Mumbai University on folk literature. But there also I asked, because there were people from Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh and all, if in case there is any kind of pair which is there, you know, mentioned in folk literature. But as of now, I have not got any kind of clue. So I'm throwing it open to all participants here also. If in case you get any clue, please orient me on this. So as you are saying, Madhavi, there are many, mythical, narrations which come in the form of oral compositions, which need to be reconstructed. See, there was a time, honestly, I want to tell you, when I started this, history world didn't take that so much, with positivity. Maybe because I was trying to reconstruct some oral sources. But some such work has been done in JNU and Delhi University, reconstructing history from paintings and all that. And here, as I said, it is a three-dimensional view. Wall paintings also need to be constructed. There are some paintings which I got also from cloth paintings on paper painting, handmade paper painting from the Museum of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University. Their history department has a museum. So some such examples also we need. We need material evidence and we need literary evidence also. Thank you.
So thank you, madam, for a very informative and a very engaging lecture on cultural history of Deccan through Lavani sources. And this is I would say that our students should be inspired by listening to your lecture, because it is a combination of textual work, archival work. It is a combination of field work, then use of historical artifacts. So you can say that this is a sort of a holistic approach, and such a type of an approach is extremely essential in the present times, when we are trying to reconstruct history through Sanskrit sources, also through Sanskrit sources, Pali sources, Prakrit sources, and also a historical and archaeological artifacts. So then history can be reconstructed. So in this way, so we can follow this methodology very well, which Varsha madam has devised and has explored and used. And she has shared her immense knowledge and information which is there with us with open hands. And so see, scholars tend to keep knowledge to themselves, but Varsha madam has shared those rare paintings, those rare ornaments, those rare pictures of uh, of saris. So on behalf of the Department of Sanskrit and Rutayan, I'm extremely thankful to Professor Dr. Varsha Shirgaonkar for delivering such a very beautiful, engaging, thought-provoking, and also so many ideas may have come up in our mind, and I feel that we will be free to share them with Varsha madam, and she'll surely love to guide us in future on such
Yes.
topics. We have stalwarts like Professor Dr. Sindhu Dange, then Dr. Sanjeevani Kher, who have been present in this lecture, and we thank them also from the bottom of our heart. And we have got good number of students also who have participated in listening to this lecture. So I'm thankful to the audience also. So we are in this process of engaging new lectures in this Professor S.A. Dange's Birth Centenary lecture series, and I hope that the audience will also keep in touch with us for many more lectures. And so with this, I thank Professor Dr. Varsha Shirgaonkar madam. I thank the staff of the department, the UCC staff. Mr. Rohit Chaube has been kind enough to provide us all possible technological assistance, and the lecture has gone live on YouTube also simultaneously. So those who have not been able to watch the lecture right from the beginning can again take a look at the lecture and think and ponder on the topics which they have missed by listening to the YouTube session. So with this, I end this session, and thank you one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you.